USDA releases $71 million in grants in pursuit of equality and justice for all, whatever the hell that means. The Department of Agriculture last week announced $71 million in new grant funding aimed at helping disadvantaged and undeserved farmers and ranchers, which USDA said supports its broader mission of ensuring equality and justice for all. We are committed to building a different USDA. USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack said Friday, one that is steadfast in our actions, mindset, and culture around equality and justice for all. We need to not only envision a different future, but also build a path to make it possible. About half of the grant funding was distributed under a program created in the 1990 Farm Bill that helps undeserved farmers, ranchers, and foresters who historically had limited access to USDA programs. So, about $194 million worth of these grants have been distributed since 2010. And among the grants announced last week was $750,000 to a nonprofit in Alabama that helps educate African American farmers and other low income people about USDA support programs. Isn't that kind of weird? That they're basically spending $750,000 to educate people that, hey, guess what? We got some support programs that you could take advantage of. That doesn't really make much sense. Another $750,000 went to a nonprofit in California that provides culturally sensitive agricultural education programs for socially disadvantaged farmers. What the hell does that even mean? Like, really? Like, if someone stumbles upon this, can someone explain that to me? Because that just sounds like BS. It just sounds like a BS program. A similar amount went to a group based in the mid Atlantic that will run a project to leverage its supply chain aggregation capacity and technical assistance expertise to increase the wholesale readiness and representation of black, brown, and other farmers in the Mid Atlantic region's food aggregation supply chain. Other grants went to like minded groups that will encourage black farmers and others to gain equitable access to USDA programs and make sure they are participating equitably in those programs. I really never like seeing when government keeps using equitable. That always bothers me because that kind of means that people are basically getting things that they haven't really earned, which bothers me, right? It's kind of like a situation where, like, let's say that you have four people running a race, right? Well, now, originally, you'd have first, second, third place, and then fourth place wouldn't even get a trophy or medal or anything. Now, because of the whole equity thing, all four will get the exact same prize no matter what. So then at that point, what is the point of working hard, training hard, when you're not going to get the best outcome? You're going to get the exact same outcome as another person. Would you work harder than another person if you knew that the person that's sitting on their butt doing nothing eating potato chips is going to get the exact same result that you do, even though you're working your butt off? Like, that's a really sad situation. And not just a sad situation, it gets people to potentially hate one another. Like, that's my biggest problem with this whole equitable type of situation. Let's see. For example, 2.3 million in grant funding went to a Minnesota nonprofit that will help farmers of colors in Sudanese and Somali audiences. Another 3.5 billion went to a group in Washington state to help new and socially disadvantaged farmers that will focus on Spanish speaking Latino and Hispanic immigrant farmers. The USDA's announcement fits with the Biden administration's broad diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility agenda, which is giving close attention at USDA given allegations of the department's discrimination against black farmers. In 2010, President Obama signed legislation that funded a settlement agreement that awarded $1.25 billion to thousands of black farmers who said the department unfairly denied them farm loans and other support because of their race. Vilsack was USDA secretary under Obama when that bill became law, and on Friday, as President Biden's USDA secretary, he said the new grant funding is another move toward equality. This is a major step in the right direction as the Biden Harris administration continues to ensure undeserved groups can more fully access and participate in federal programs and services, he said. So let's check out some of these comments. People of color have received billions of dollars in assistance, lowered test scores, college admittance, and preferential hiring for 55 years. If they can't make it on that, then they will never make it. Wow, 71 million. Is that the change that fell from Ukraine Hall? Sounds as though the grants were issued on the basis of the applicant's color of skin instead of the content of their character, which is always a very disturbing aspect. How about taking that $71 million out of the paychecks of the USDA management? Good idea. Let's see. Certainly there has been discrimination in the past. Red rest is hard though. Handing money to slicksters who create programs with fancy names will do zero. I gotta say, like some of these names for these like charities and whatnot, like, is this even real? Like, what are you actually doing? Most of that money will go to the expenses of the politically connected. Further, the directing of tax dollars to persons based on their ethnicity or color is unconstitutional per se. There are ways to help marginal farmers who fail to qualify for loans, too lengthy to discuss here. Let's see. So every dollar goes towards nothing. Who knew farming is racist? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. We're doomed. How is this legal? No idea. They are leeches. This is absolutely ridiculous. The problem for the African American community is they don't have access to organic fruits and veggies the way the rest of us do. There are fast food restaurants on every corner in the hood. This is another boondoggle that will fleece the American public even further. And I gotta say, one of the most disturbing situations is that, yeah, if you were to go to basically into communities where the income is very low, fast food places are existing everywhere. Like everywhere. Like they are literally everywhere. But you also got to keep in mind too, the fast food places are also one of the biggest hirers in those locations. So it's kind of like a really weird situation because they hire a lot of people in those communities, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily help them long term. Interesting. Feel free to give your thoughts on this.